Welcome back to another episode of What the Devil. We had a break last week, but we are back. And we're back in a bit of a Consi mood. Like, it's a bit weird one around United, but you know, I'm here, Dylan, joined by Yusuf and Firms once again, back in the studio, back to talk about United, the fans, the controversy, and the weirdness around the club at the moment. It feels a bit weird, but first thing I want to address is, so I got a voice note from Flex about 9:30 yesterday morning, where he was streaming with Owen, and they were, you know, doing their thing, they were talking, and then they got onto a tweet that I'd put out, I think the day before, just commenting on some of the United players coming back to training. So United put out a video of the players in the gym. And in past seasons, we've had very disrupted pre-seasons, haven't we, at the club? We've either been, you know, they're late pre-seasons because of Euro 2024, or like in Ten Hag, I believe his first season, it was like we travelled, like, we played like 7 games around over the different US and all the players were complaining and it all got a bit here and there. But this pre-season, I personally think as a side thing, is a very well set up pre-season. 5 games, 4 Premier League teams, 6, 7 weeks preparing, or that's less than that. But yeah, 5, 6 weeks preparing for the season to come.
Yeah.
And when the players returned, I was watching the gym videos. Like, I'm a guy, you know, I like to go to the gym. I kind of feel like semi-understand that stuff. And I was watching it and I was thinking, all the players look very lean. They look very fit. They look very ready. Like, we've seen the videos from Lenny Yoro, Kobbie Mainoo, and all the guys like doing work ahead of coming back to Carrington. And obviously Cunha's come back, I think, a few days earlier than he was meant to, you know, because he's excited. He wants to get it going. But the comments in Flex and Owen's live stream were not happy with me. It came up, and I believe a few of the comments were along the lines of, this man needs to stand trial for his words, for his actions. And personally, I completely stand by what I've said. So what the whole thing was that, you know, this is the bare minimum. Yeah, and I don't disagree. You know, the bare minimum should be, you know, you come back and you're already fit and ready to crack on. Like, you don't, like, so for example, last season, apparently Xerxes came in a little overweight. So therefore he had to spend extra time adjusting, which meant that the pre-season was delayed, and he was delayed anyway. He didn't turn up until pre-season had finished. He wasn't on the US tour. And De Ligt came in mid-August or August, whatever it was. So did Mazwari, obviously.
They came literally days before the Fulham game.
Exactly. And then Ugarte wasn't signed until the final day of August, and then he didn't end up starting for like a month or something like that. I just think that my comments were meant to be around talking about the fact that this pre-season's setting up to be quite a good one, in my opinion. We're not in the Club World Cup. Their players aren't been playing in an international tournament, and they're coming back and they look fit. Amorim needs his players to be fit. I think we can all agree last season we lost so many duels and we got outrun by so many teams because our players weren't able to cope with it. I think this is something that you mentioned quite a lot, I think, as well. Like, the players, like, they weren't good enough or athletic enough to cope with the system. But all I'm saying is just things like, for example,
not athletic enough to cope, full stop.
Yeah, but I feel like now they've come back and they look lean, they look fit, and that's for me. All I meant to say was it's a positive first step. Rather than the players coming back in with their little bellies and their little tans and whatever, like, they've come in and they look good and they look ready.
What I would say to that is,
that's all I meant.
Every pre-season, we have a shot probably like that where someone is bulked up, someone has lost weight. Do you know what I mean? And it's one of those situations where I think it's like, yes, it's a positive in the sense where people are looking after themselves, they're training. But what Manchester United fans are wanting, they're wanting results, whether it be in transfers or wanting results and saying, you know, you're doing all of that work off the pitch to get in shape. How does that translate on the pitch? Because quite frankly, we've seen those pictures of Casemiro and Kobbie, but we don't want to be in a game where you've got now a hench Kobbie Mainoo, you've got a lean Casemiro, but it doesn't do anything for their mobility on the pitch. Like, we want someone that can bomb up that pitch, right? And if there's a counter, that person can same way run back, put in a slide tackle, catch that man. Do you know what I mean? And you just kind of get the vibe where Kobbie ain't got that burst of acceleration. You got Casemiro, the same thing. So yeah, I mean, it's great, like, if they're on the ball and you're trying to win the ball off them and they can potentially, you know, like, shield it and protect it. But in terms of a mobility and getting around the dynamic sort of thing, I think we're still in a situation where we're lacking that. And I think the fans are looking at it like, no, we've been here before. And where's Mbeumo?
I think what's happened is I've said that, and it's like I've gone, right, Perfect, my season's done now. The players look good. What a great set of abs on this random bloke. No, what I mean is that is the first step that needed to be taken.
Yeah.
And yeah, whatever, you can just say they shouldn't be praised for that because it's their job. Yeah, I agree, but I want to point it out and be like, because there's so much negativity around the club at the moment. Like, as you said, where's Mbeumo? We know where he is. He's in LA. Why is he in LA, bro? He should be at Carrington. But that's a whole separate point. But it's just like, you know, after the disaster of last season, so far, like, I like the fact that they've come back. Like Mason Mount, for example, looks really slim. Luke Shaw looks slim. Well, Luke Shaw's obviously been the one that's always had quite a lot of contention around him and what he looks like and all of that. But he looks, and look, I don't really care about Luke Shaw anymore. Like, cool, he's a 7th choice centre back. He'll play some games. He's got a good pass on him. If he can stay fit and be part of the squad, whatever. I don't really care. But it's like the other players, like Casemiro, for example, he's coming back today. He should be coming back today. Like, he's been like training videos on the beach stuff. Like, he looks fit. When he was really fit towards the end of last season, we saw how good he can be, right? And when he came back a few seasons ago in pre-season, when he would, you know, all those, remember the turkey boss man memes from Casemiro, where he looked like he was serving chips at a Chippy. And that was the season where he was just tragic. He started so badly because he wasn't fit. But he's come back, he looks fit and slim. I think all I mean is it's a good sign about the players who we currently have leveling up and getting more athletic and getting fitter and getting better. Now, we can then move on to talk about the players we need to get in, and I'm not excusing that at all. I just, in that single moment, in those aspects, in terms of the players we currently have, looking good and getting back to fitness and getting more athletic is a positive thing.
Is that most of the squad we have now are going to make up most of the squad we have going through this season. We're not going to get like half a new squad. I mean,
no, we won't.
We've only managed to get one player from a release clause, so you know we're not going to get half a new squad. But it's a good sign, like if these players are in shape, and you know it's a bare minimum. But then we've not had the bare minimum for years, so it's like okay, we've got a bare minimum. Like whoever that's down to, I don't know, but you're right. Like it's a positive sign with a bare minimum. Kobe, like I don't know. Everyone was saying like, oh my god, he's put on too much weight, he's bulked up. And then when you point out he looks lean, they're angry. So like, what
you also got to think, you got to remember with Kobe last season is he spent about 3.5, 4 months on a treatment table, which doesn't help if you like. And anyone knows that you know if you're doing a lot of running and then you get an ankle injury and you can't run for a month, can't run for 2 months, you'll probably put on a few pounds. It just is how because you can't exercise it off, but your body's used to the amount of the amount of food and water, whatever that you would consuming beforehand. So like this is what like I've said about Mainu a number of times. Across this summer is I'm not overly worried about him. Like, so Nick, for example, who comes on the pod a lot, is worried about Mainu next season. He's worried about, is Mainu going to play? Is Mainu going to, where does he fit? Blah, blah, blah. I'm not worried about him at all. I think Mainu's going to stay. I don't see him, there's been no exit rumours. He looks at Ben Jacobs, according to Ben Jacobs, who I think we all trust and like now, says he expects him to sign a new contract. Mainu looks, and he's really pushing, like we all know how good Mainu is. That's why the worry is there. We know how good he can be. And in my opinion, I know how good he is, so I know he'll play. If that makes sense. Like it's always like, oh, where does he play? Like, he can play both, like in that midfield too, as part of the front three. Like I don't know. I'm not fussed about Mainu. But some of the comments are saying that Dylan looking lean, Studio looking lean, lean. There's some more. Dylan, you have some things to address, Dylan, which I hope I have now. I hope some people understand what I was talking about. But yeah, as Nikhil S says, hit the like button, get your comments in, smash the like button, subscribe, all of that. Yeah. Keep getting your comments in and everything. But yeah, in general with pre-season,
cool.
Like, how do you feel about the pre-season in the next couple of weeks coming along? Like, are you feeling like there's a chance for us to look a lot better there, or are you still feeling a bit pessimistic?
I think there's a chance, but I think this preseason needs to be used to build the fit squad, get them ready for the season, and also for Aaron to make some changes to his system, and like really implement something good, not the whatever the hell we saw last season. I think I want to see some, like, definitely want to see some big changes to what he does, and yeah, that's mainly it. Like fitness and implement something that gives the players foundation for this season. Because the thing is, preseason, even with a longer preseason or a better preseason for this season, preseason's still not really long enough. You know, you don't get the time to properly implement stuff necessarily in pre-season. Even Pep Guardiola, I remember at the start of last season when it came to the first international break, he said that first period of the season is like an extended pre-season almost. So get fit for the season and implement something. Those are kind of my main two aims. I never particularly care about pre-season results, I'll be honest, but it's more about like
it's more about I don't care about pre-season results.
How are you preparing for the season?
To me, last season was pre-season. Like, to me, it was all a learning game for Amorim. It was,
it
who
really
can I
was.
trust? Which players can play in this system? Which players can't? Which players do I know I want to keep? Which players do I want to get rid of? The whole last season for me was him staying true to his system, Amorim, but him, like, it was a write-off to me. It was a write-off. I feel like going into this pre-season, it's just going to be more of the same. We just need to level up and get that baseline fitness, which, you know, the likes of Chelsea's benefiting from because of the Club World Cup and other teams. We need games, you know what I mean? And I think the most important thing for me in this pre-season is everyone staying fit. We need people to stay fit. We can't have another scenario where Kobe Mainoo gets injured in pre-season.
In like mid-September, and then Mount's out by the end of August.
Mount, Shaw gets injured, he's tentative, he gets injured again. Or, you know, we need everyone going through the pre-season, getting through it, Ahmad, all of them, and coming out the other end and raring to go. And we do, again, I don't want to say his name, I don't want to, you know, ramble on about it, but as many new signings as we can as possible, we need them in the team because they need to be learning what this is all about. What is Amorim on? What does he want from me?
You need to immerse yourself in the team.
Do you know what I mean?
Like,
people say, oh, it's been 36, 37, 38 days or whatever it is since Ornstein said, you know, and when we want to join
United,
But the reality is these guys are on holiday. Who cares? Like, these guys are on holiday. The real ticker starts when training has started, which was how many days ago?
On Monday, yeah.
Monday. That's when the ticker really starts, because anyone that's joining should ideally be in first day of training, because we're going to need every minute we can get. They should be there and learning up, you know, the ropes, the tactics and everything like that. So for me, it's only been about a week lost, but we do as soon as possible need to get our players in. But right
the Mbamo stuff, the thing is I'm reluctant to absolutely slam the club about it, because realistically we don't actually know what's happening.
Yeah.
But it's also really hard not to turn around and go, what the fuck is going on?
I can tell you what's happening, and you correct me if I'm
wrong. But the thing is, can you actually tell me what's happening, or can you make an estimate of what could be happening? This is the thing, because everyone can make an estimate of what could be, like United could be posturing, Brentford could be changing their mind about the bid price, United could be waiting for a sale to go through so they can commit more money up front to it, but no one actually knows, and this is the thing, and no one at all knows. It seems like there's no updates from anybody. There's no updates, it's just like negotiations continuing. Fabrizio Romano doesn't know anything. Ornstein, to be fair, if he said something, if he knew something, he wouldn't say it until something more concrete happened. Whitwell, McCritchie, Ben Jacobs, none of these guys know anything. Yeah. We had the United District, we said last week, it was like 8 days ago, like the bid was set to go in last Wednesday, because at the time of publication of when we released that, because it's exactly that's what we were told by the people in the club who are close to the bid side and submitting bid side of football, went to us, it's expected to go in today. This was 8 days ago. And it didn't. And then we talked to them again and they were like, it's imminent, it's ready. And it seems like it's still not going in, but then since then it's been radio silence on the club side. So I don't know if there's been some sort of media blackout about it. It's so infuriating and so frustrating and also just so bizarre. Like, it feels like the club are completely incompetent, but at the same time, like, it's hard to actually say that with dead certainty, because the club are quite clearly like blocking anything from actually getting out. So you have no idea. So just everyone's completely in the dark about it. It's just bizarre.
I like that though.
Yeah, it's just I think everyone's really in the dark.
I wonder what Firms thinks is the case.
I feel like it's been a change in target on our end, and I feel like it's been a change in target on Brentford's end. So if you go right back to the Europa League, losing that final against Tottenham, you remember Barada saying he had various different plans. He had different scenarios in the earlier games when we went on that original 3-game tour. He said, he's got a plan A, plan B. one of their greatest plans, like if everything fell into place, is us winning Europa League, getting that 100 million or whatever it looked like, and then, you know, signing Delap. You know, the upfront fee of Delap and Cunha is different to what we have to pay now with the upfront fee of Mbeumo and Cunha. I feel like with every club, and I could be wrong, but every club is probably budgeting how much they want to give away in upfront costs, whether that be cash reserve liquidity. I feel like many clubs are not swimming in free cash. I feel like they can do Klarnas, they can do like revolving credits, they can do like, oh, I want to pay you a little bit now and then the rest over 4 or 5 years.
That's one thing a lot of clubs this summer are in, like PSR. Like Villa, for example, PSR will trouble, and we'll go on to that later. That's why Watkins is actually like something we look at, because we know Villa do kind of need to sell players.
Yeah, and what you're seeing more and more now is clubs paying more than the buyout clause or more than the fee just to get favourable terms. And I think with Manchester United, what's happening is...
that's what we did with Xerxes, actually.
That's what we did with Xerxes. But what we're seeing now is, you know, we're seeing Elanga moving. We're seeing Kudus. We're seeing all of these things happening. And where we probably had an agreement once, or where we've been trying to get a claw down of that fee, claw back some money because we're not willing to pay that, Brentford is like more stronger in their resolve, seeing these other activities happening. And then maybe it could be that they're increasing the fee or just putting their feet down and planting it. And it's just dragging it out because Man United and Ineos are conflicted. They're conflicted in getting value for money, and they're also conflicted in terms of operating at a timely fashion.
And also getting in a player that we need.
And getting in a player we need.
Without having to pay 75 million for him.
That's the value for money. So if we get players quickly, that could be closely associated, not all the time, but closely associated with just paying someone what they want.
Yeah.
Because we're going to get them in quickly, and we don't want to do that. It's a challenge. We're fighting between those two things. I think it's tough.
I think it's just the fact that it's been going on for such a long time is what frustrates a lot of people. And that's where you really wonder what is going on. Like, why is this taking as long as it is? Like, it is concerning. I agree with you as well, but yeah, it is at the same time concerning. I think a lot of these wingers, like, or attackers going for the fees they're going for is us like strengthening Brentford's stance. Like,
yeah,
okay,
every sale that goes for above 50 mil strengthens Brentford's stance. It's like, because they said 62.5, same value as Cunha. Yeah. And then once we bid a total fee of 62.5, it was like 55 plus 7.5. They were like, well, now that like these other deals are going through, we actually want 65. And then since then, like Kudus, who was pretty below par last season's going to Spurs for like 55 million. João Pedro's just gone for like 55, 60 million. And but the thing is that it's a great signing, but I think we'd all agree, out of those crop of players who have so far gone and stuff, I think Mbeumo's the best one. He's better than them. So therefore, to a certain extent, Brentford are just like, well, Mbeumo's better. Yeah. So we're going to go 70 million.
He's just had a 20-goal Premier League season.
Exactly. He's just had a season that we've not seen from any of our wingers in forever.
Can I ask you a question, since Rashford? Though, both of you. If we did get Mbeumo done 2 weeks ago, do you feel like Manchester United, without any sales, would have been able to get in like another significant buy?
No. So if we'd signed Cunha and Mbeumo, and Mbeumo arrived on Monday, for pre-season, or arrived today for pre-season, United would now just be going, okay, no, we just need to sell players now.
And that's what I think those is contributing to this.
Yeah.
Because I feel like everyone wants the deal to get... I know people's nervous, is it going to break down? But I feel like Manchester United's in a position where we're saying, even if we got him 2 weeks ago, people's going to be complaining about the next guy. They're not, and because we ain't got any sales done.
No, I think the Mbeumo thing is a level above other stuff. I think if we'd signed Cunha and Mbeumo, fans would be pretty like, everyone would understand that we weren't going to get another person in until we sold. But the idea was, the message was even from May, it was United have enough for like 2 signings, then sales, then 2 or 3 more. But obviously 2 signings, that was initially Delap and Mbeumo. And as soon as Delap went to Chelsea, which was dead early, we immediately pivoted towards Mbeumo. And it's the fact that second signing, we were expecting 2 by now, at the very least, and it's only been 1. It's technically 2 with Diego Leon, but obviously we're not counting that because he's not coming in to be a starting 11 player.
Yeah.
But it's just, I think the Mbeumo thing is definitely a level above frustration for any other signing, because it seemed so immediate.
Yeah.
Cunha, day 1, we announced that we had paid his release clause. Day 2, Mbeumo wants to join. Day 3, Bruno Fernandes is staying. bid rejected, bid rejected.
Nothing.
And then it's just like, because it's not a fury at something happening, it's a fury at a lack of something. So you can't even pinpoint where your anger is. I think that's why there's so much frustration. Also, I think that's why I get flamed so much on Twitter for saying something positive about the current squad. Because they are the same squad that finished 15th. Same squad that finished 15th. And I'm going, oh, these guys look all right. Then they were utterly shit and shocking for so much of last season. And everyone's angry because the Mbeumo thing's not happened and we've not sold any players yet.
Yeah.
So I can understand it. I can really understand it. I try not to focus on it too much because that's just poor for anyone's mental health.
I feel like the fans need to redirect their energy though on the sales, because the sales are gonna drive the bias. The sales.
Yeah, but the fans can't do anything.
I know the fans can't do anything, but it's like they can't do anything with the bias anyway.
And it is hard to just put aside your anger and put some trust into what's happening, because there's no evidence of it getting better. Like I like Amorim. I've been very vocal in this. I like Amorim, but I know my faith in Amorim Brola is purely based on faith. It's not purely based on faith, but for the most part, it's based on a belief that it will get better, rather than I can't point at anything and go, see, look, this shows it's going to get better. Like I can't, because there isn't anything. It's just my belief. It's just like, that's just how I am as a football fan. Is I like to look forward and think things hopefully will get better.
But I'm looking at the data.
I completely get it if someone wants to throw the towel in and go, I'm a City fan. Or whatever. Obviously, not that much, but I mean, just be like, screw football. I get it if people are feeling like that, because it is, for the most part, a bit ridiculous. It's a bit ridiculous.
Look, if it's any consolation, guys, every single year Manchester United spend a certain net amount. It's just a fact. Look, whether it is coming early or late, we are going to get these deals done. Man United is the highest spenders, or top 5, maybe even top 3 in gross spend. Man United is the top 3, top 5 again in net spend in the Premier League. We're just going to spend, regardless of whether you think we've got the money or you don't think we've got the money, or whether it comes in early, it comes in late. Man United's going to spend.
Our net spend this summer, if you just calculate all the transfer fees, will be so net spend. So this is what we spent versus what we've earned.
Yeah,
will hit around. It will be around 80 to 100 million. I'm confident that will happen.
Man United's always.
And if we sell Garnacho, we're
Man United last year spent about almost 250 million euros. I don't know what that is in pounds.
About 200 mil.
And how much did we sell? Maybe like 80 million worth of that, or something along those lines.
We sold just over 100 million, I think.
Just over 100 million.
Well, because Green was at 25.
Is he gone yet? Greenwood.
Yeah. Yeah, we sold him to Marseille last summer.
Oh, I'm thinking about the selling fee. Sorry.
We sold with McTominay, like 25 million, about 25 million. Greenwood, 25 million. We had like Wan-Bissaka 15, Kambwala was 10 million. Donny van der Beek was like 500k plus 13 million in add-ons. So I don't know how much of the add-ons we've got. But like, it crept up toward around 100 mil plus like whatever we saved on Sancho's wages and stuff at the beginning of last season. So our net spend was around 100 million last summer as well.
So we just got to take it. We got to take it like that, and I feel that we do have a sell in us this season, whether it be Garnacho, Sancho,
Anthony, Rashford, Malacia. Well, it'll be those 5 are going. I'm confident they'll all get sold.
Sorry,
they'll all not be at the club.
4 of them.
Huh?
Sancho, Garnacho, Anthony, Rashford,
and Malacia. I said Malacia.
I think someone will get sold to help. Bring in a bit of income, whoever it is. Yeah. And then there'll be some loans, and then that will generate extra cash that we saved. So. Yeah.
I want to move on now. So we're talking about incomes outgoings specifically, because this is something I want to mention last week before we ended up not recording last week, is Ollie Watkins. So, Gyökeres to Arsenal is so confusing, right? I don't know. I'm just kind of assuming he's not there. Osimhen is off to Galatasaray. Like, he's said yes to a 3-year deal. They're going to sort out that contract. Delap obviously gone to Chelsea, and it just kind of, there's been nothing to say that Watkins is now our top choice, but it feels like he's probably up there. Obviously, I think we're not going to move for anyone until we know what kind of funds we have, but I just want to ask, how do you feel about us being linked to Watkins? Because my opinion is I like Watkins as a striker, but I wouldn't pay if it's like 60 million. What I wouldn't be happy with the signing, or I'd be a bit iffy about the signing if it was anything over 35, 40 million. Yeah. Anything over 35 million, I'm like, if we're heading towards 45, 50 million, I'm like, the guy's 29. But at the same time, I do think there's a certain amount of United fans maybe underestimating that he actually has a few more seasons left.
And he is a good player.
And he's scored 10 goals in all 5 Premier League seasons he's played. Not last season, but the season before last, he got like 17 goals and 14 assists, which is a nuts thing for a striker to do. Yes, there was the whole he got benched by Rashford at Villa, but he was also kind of injured. I feel like people aren't taking that into account. I think Watkins, if he would sign, and Mbeumo, again, if, touch wood, Cunha's through the door. I like the idea of Watkins because I think that gives a correct amount of breathing room for the other strikers we currently have. Watkins is 29 and he'll be playing 1 game a week in the Premier League, and then we'll have like Højlund and or Xerxes up front for like the Carabao Cup games, and they all can compete. Chido Obi can then learn, like, Chido Obi, do you want him to learn off Rasmus Højlund? Do you want Chido Obi to learn with Rasmus Højlund or learn with Ollie Watkins? I think Watkins is a good player. I feel like because he's not Osimhen, who is just everyone's dream, and even mine, it's a bit like, oh, therefore he's a shit signing. I would be cautious if it's anything over 40. I'm like, well, obviously I'm not in control of it. I'm like, fine, we got Watkins, good player, but we've been fleeced here. But I think another 3 seasons, Watkins, easily. Because 30 is not a cut-off point. 30 is treated as a cut-off point, I think, at the moment. I know. Because so many of the players we like start going downhill at 30, because the players we like are the ones with speed, with flair, with power. But the ones who don't play with those attributes and play kind of technically, like Watkins does, they last longer. They last longer.
Also, he knows how to use his body and his sense of movement, intelligent. I think Watkins is a good player.
Yeah, also comments, get your thoughts in on Watkins.
And what price would you pay for him?
Yeah, and what price would you pay for him?
Yeah, if we could get in the 30 to 40 million range, I think it'd be good. And I think it's possible because Villa obviously have those aforementioned PSR issues. They do need to sell players. One player from Villa I'd be looking at is Amadou Onana, though, as well. I'd be looking at him, like, or even Boubacar Kamara, but like one of their midfielders, because let's face it, our midfield is not good. Right? We need somebody, all right? Amadou Onana or Boubacar Kamara are quality players. Like, they can play for us for a long time. Physically, they're good. They can cover ground. They can play in a double pivot, and like they're not Ugarte. So you know,
you know that was coming, isn't it?
Say it with more chest, Yusuf.
They are not Ugarte.
There you go.
Do you know what? Right, I think it's a fairy tale thinking that he's gonna go for anything less than 50 million.
I don't think so, man. The other Villa players, like you say, Onana and stuff, I see them having a stronger stance with. But I don't know. I just feel like Villa will have a bit of a weaker stance.
I think especially
with Watkins,
because I think off a bit this season relative to last.
And also, I think that he would be a lot more open to it than other Villa players would be. Because obviously Villa's it's a project thing at the moment. So people like Onana, when signing from Everton to Villa, they're signing on to Emery's project. They're signing on to like kind of, you know, they just missed out on Champions League, which, you know, you're welcome. But like I think they're more of it's a project, so it's easier to hold on to players who've bought into a project. I feel like Watkins wouldn't buy into that as much because he's 29. He's like this will be the last summer I think that he can get a chance to a like traditional Big Six club or something. So I feel like he would be more open to it. I mean, reports are that he's definitely open to it. He is an Arsenal fan, but he's not signing for Arsenal. So that we've got that out of the way. But I don't know. I feel like if we were to sign Watkins, and obviously this being for a price that we deem as reasonable, 35, 40 million, well, that might be like 35 million with 10 mil add-ons or something. Those add-ons being that we like win the league or whatever. I feel like United fans would be surprised. Because as well, he wouldn't be, if you're worried about his physical, like some of the comments are talking about like how like physical decline accelerates after 30 and stuff. If he's playing one game, he's playing 90 minutes a week on a Saturday. We're not in these European competitions. We're not playing in the Europa League, having to fly to Azerbaijan to play teams. We're just training once a week. And also in terms of keeping fitness up, you know, when we're talking about like players couldn't get fit when Amorim joined, they didn't have any training sessions, so it's hard for them to actually get fitter. Playing once a week, pre-season, I feel like someone like Watkins would level us up a surprising amount compared to how people actually feel about it.
He can run the channels extremely well. He holds the ball up well. Like, he's a very instinctive shooter in the box. Like that goal he scored, I think it was in the semi-final for England in the Euros.
That's a quality goal.
I don't think people realize just how good a finish that actually is. Like, that is brilliant. So in the box, we know he can get his shots off. He's got.
He plays with his teammates as well. He's got like 75 assists in the Premier League or something.
Look, he's a guy, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not 75.
So no, he's got 75 goals and like 35 assists in 5 seasons.
Can come into Manchester United and help us get European football for 2 years. He plays for 2 years. Amortization kicks in. You realise that you've got your value for money for Watkins. It really is about. He's a quality Prem-proven player, striker.
All competitions, he'll be bagging over 20, 25 goals for us.
You know what you're going to get from him.
You know what you're going to get. And
that's what we need.
Paired with Cunha and Mbeumo.
This is what I mean. I think we don't need players. I feel like we look at superstars at United and we go, those are the kind of players that should be playing for us. Like Osimhen, that is the kind of player who should be playing for Manchester United. Like peak, what Manchester United should be and have been. But I really am of the belief that we don't need to be signing world-class, bona fide, top 5 Ballon d'Or level players. We just need some fucking good players.
We just need a baseline.
This is really what I think. Yeah. Raise the floor of the team.
Yes.
Cunha and Burmo, and if we sign a good midfielder, even if someone like Rios, when I've been watching him in the Club World Cup, he's been fantastic. Just like sign players who are just good. Like Mazwari, for example. He's a very good player. I wouldn't put him up there as a world-class player.
Okay, no, we're disagreeing there.
Yeah, I know, because he's a father or whatever. But I mean, in the way of like for example, like he will play, and you're good with it. Like he will play and he'll be good.
That's what
he will always put in a good
pitch.
game. Yeah, I feel 100%. Like it's hard for Cunha and Mbeumo to put in a series of stinkers.
Yeah.
Because they're just good players and they're Premier League proven players and they're good, and I think
yeah.
Oh my God, I can't speak today. Watkins fits into that category as well. He's a
does.
very good striker.
Yeah. There's
who
no
will come
question
in
marks.
and he will score 20 to 25 goals.
There's
probably.
no question marks. There's no question marks about
You can
him
rely on
Ireland.
that.
There's no question. These guys just need to come in and be available. Just be available. Just be fit. But again.
And what's nice is, sorry, carry on.
I just can't see us getting a deal for him unless we wait right to the end of the window and Aston Villa in super desperation and they haven't sold anyone. I can't see Manchester United going in. They are 100% going to tell you 60 million. Then you're going to spend the whole of the transfer, rest of it, trying to bargain it down to 50.
I see another fucking link to Dominic Calvert-Lewin or Jamie Vardy.
Wait. Who would you choose, by the way? So there was Vardy. If you had to,
Vardy, Calvert-Lewin, and Wilson.
And why?
Was. I know you're going Wilson, and I kind of agree with Callum Wilson over those other two, but that's like choosing between 3 horrific twins.
Oh, I'd be happy if Callum Wilson came, honestly.
Callum Wilson is like the best of a last resort option. If we miss out on our top 7 striker targets and we're at the window and we kind of fucked it and we're just like shit. I honestly it would be better. It's like getting when we brought in. Actually, no, that's not fair to Cavani. Cavani was class.
Yeah,
I mean, in the way of we just needed a striker and we were like, he's free, fine. I'd be the most okay with Callum Wilson, but if we get to the situation where I am okay with Callum Wilson, then something's gone seriously wrong. That's how I see it. Something's gone wrong if I end up being okay with Callum Wilson.
I've always thought Callum Wilson is a quality player, but the injuries are a concern. That's the main concern.
He's fine.
If it wasn't the fact that he's had such big injuries, and I mean the fact we've got one game a week and stuff makes me feel it makes me wonder what if a little bit, but yeah, it's the injuries. Because other than that, I genuinely think he's a very good player.
He's a decent striker. Where was he? He was at Bournemouth,
and then
Newcastle.
He had some very good seasons in the Premier League.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I don't doubt him as a decent striker. I'm not throwing him in the same ballpark as someone like Troy Deeney or something. He's a good striker. He's a Premier League level striker.
He is. He's a good striker.
But it's just I might be falling into the same trap I just mentioned earlier about being annoyed it's not a flashy name or whatever. But I just feel like if it ends up being our striker signing as Callum Wilson, then that's either going to have to be compensated by United have decided to go in for Onana and pay 55, 60 million for Onana, and then decided to forego signing a striker if Xerxes starts pre-season well, for example.
Do you know what? I can't
I can't think of anything other than that if we end up with Callum Wilson, then something's happened. Something's changed.
Yeah.
Something's gone not to plan.
Yeah, 100%.
I can't I did the Xerxes and Burmo Cunha front 3 works. I don't think it works that well.
Why you say that?
I think it works if we're playing against Sunderland, for example. But against most teams, there's not enough running threat in that front three, in my opinion. There's not enough like directness off the ball, like in behind. Like Xerxes, we know he's going to drop and come to the ball. He plays that kind of false nine role. Cunha, we know he's going to drop and come to the ball. Burmo can be more of a runner in behind, but he also is like has a lot of ball to feet tendencies as well. So you've not got a lot of running threat.
Do you think that it changes these roles and responsibilities if Xerxes occupying those deeper roles? Do you
I think Amram adjusts.
Do you think he?
Because he has done that last season with like Casemiro and stuff. He's like he's adjusted to right, how are we going to get the best out of the crop that we've got. If it ends up being that those are our best three attackers, which at the moment they are our best three attackers. Well, I'm assuming Mbeumo comes. Obviously, I'm going to touch the win again. Like I get it. If they're in the static roles of Xerxes stays right here, Cunha stays right here, and Mbeumo stays right here, then maybe to a certain extent it'll get crowded.
I do agree with that. But it'll get crowded. I think it's more there's like, okay, everyone's going to come to the ball, but then who's going in behind? Like, even in the Europa League final for when Xerxes came on, for example, we saw this. He came on and it was very good to have him there as a reference because in that final what happened is because Casemiro and Fernandes were both sitting deep, all right, by instruction. They were both sitting deep. Then Højlund's naturally occupying the centre-backs and the wide 10s were playing a bit wider. In that central space in the 10, there's no one there. Now, when Xerxes comes on, he drops the ball, so there's someone occupying that space, and when he receives the ball in that space, that gives someone to think about, but then no one's in the box. And that is the issue. So if Xerxes is going to drop, and Cunha's also going to be there around where the ball is, because that's the player he is. He wants to like have the ball at
He likes to roam.
You know, he doesn't like to
drop.
In some instances, running behind, but running in behind, it's more like if the ball's on the far side, he'll make a run in behind, and the diagonal ball will go in. But generally, he's not much of a runner in behind. And Burma's the only one who's a real runner in behind.
Yeah.
That's why I think it can work well if we're going to dominate teams, but
I will grant you, it is a little bit of it's an awkward one. Yeah. I think it can work, and I think it can work partly because I think they're three very good footballers. So it'll work. It'll be better than than last season. It just will be better than last season because they're three better, more intelligent, and more selfless players. Yeah, I think they are.
Or could you in games where that happens, and it may not be every game, could it be that Cunha starting up top?
Well, it'd be Mbeumo, I think, would be up top.
Mbeumo starting up top.
That's why I remember when we were first being linked, I said to Dylan, if we're going to play that front three, I think it'd work best if you have Xerxes and Cunha as your 10s and Mbeumo up front.
Yeah.
Mbeumo and his big arse. But this is why, just in terms of talking about that, this is why I think Watkins could be a good signing, because if you put Watkins in there over Xerxes, that's someone who can do like Watkins good with the ball at his feet. Maybe not as good as Xerxes, who knows, but he can run the channels like you said. There's a run. He gives exactly. I think just having like Watkins has got a good presence up front as well. Yeah. Like he's a good striker. So if you're a Premier League centre back and you've been playing against for 5 seasons, you're like, damn, this front three is pretty solid. Like I thought there's a certain amount of United get back to being a presence on the pitch, because we weren't a presence on the pitch last season. No one gave a shit about us. Like they're playing Man United and they were like, right, there's a chance here. It'll be the same next season. There'll be a certain extent where teams are like, they're a cracks man. Huh?
We were getting outplayed by
exactly.
So did you feel like the forward line was the most important area to fix over the midfield?
100%.
Because you were mentioning Onana, and you're not the only one to mention the midfield being like.
I'm in 2 minds. Like, we definitely need better forwards, but that midfield is such a problem.
We really need another midfielder, but I feel like if we had signed, for example, if we had chosen to sign a midfielder as our first choice signing this summer, I'd have been more worried. Just because forward, just a lack of goal. We didn't. I think, contrary to popular belief, I don't think we conceded as many goals as people think we conceded last season. We didn't ever keep a clean sheet.
Yeah.
Like there weren't many games where we like conceded. Like we often conceded like 1 or maybe sometimes 2, and that is to some extent the fault was Onana. And this is another thing I tweeted the other day that me being me pissed people off.
Trolling.
Was I said no? I'm not even trolling, right?
What I said is
I think. Oh come on, man. What I said was I think Onana was massively at fault for some of our losses last season, right? Because of just his bad parrying, poor decision making, and he was shocking.
He contributed to a significant number of goals.
Yeah,
just because.
But what I think is if we can plug the gap or plug a lot of the root issues of facing shots this season, we can then spend more money on a better goalkeeper next summer. This is Onana's last season at Manchester United. I'm pretty confident about that because he's not going this summer. All reports say he's not going this summer. Amorim likes him. He wants to stay, and like no clubs are interested in him. I don't think there's a world here where Onana leaves this summer. So if you sign a new midfielder and new attackers, we're going to be able to keep the ball better in the other final third and in the middle of the pitch. We're also going to get cut through less. So the simple fact is, Onana's going to face less shots. And if he faces fewer shots, he makes fewer errors. And we might be all right. And also, if we have more of the ball, and that's what Onana, at least to some extent, is still pretty good at, is when we have the ball. If Amorim I know you don't want him to, but let's say he keeps the middle centre-back thing stepping up, or he has the wide centre-back step up instead, and there's still like space in the defence for Onana to play with the ball at his feet. I'm not saying I like Onana, or I'm not saying that he should stay, but I'm saying that on the given that he is staying, if we were to sign attackers and midfielders, we immediately have more of the ball. We had about average 54% possession in our season. That goes up. We concede fewer shots, so we concede fewer goals. So Onana makes fewer errors, and we play more to his strengths. Then you go and pay. Sorry, I keep cutting you off here. If we can then do decent next season, and Amorim's staying, we're still playing the system, instead of having to buy a semi-decent goalkeeper for 15 million this summer, we spend more on an actual better one.
Proper one, yeah.
And we actually buy one for longer term for more money.
Yeah.
And you've got a solid goalkeeper from then on, and then we kick on from there.
Yeah.
That's just how I view this. I would rather we sign attackers and midfielder to help plug the gap on being ripped through as much, so therefore Onana's less involved in those games, than sign him a proper replacement next summer.
My worry is, Bruno, is that it's going to take a worldie of a midfielder. And Onana, I was trying to think about the players that's got the attributes, the height, the strength, that can ball, that can like press resistant and all. Onana ticks a lot of the boxes. Not all of the boxes, but he ticks a lot of them. Bruno, in the midfield, puts a lot of pressure on the other person.
Bruno,
do you know what I mean?
I'd never thought Bruno in that midfield, deep midfield, is a long-term situation, but especially in the system. Look, we will not stop getting cut through until he fixes how he sets this team up.
It's already 3 against 2
I'm
in a lot of cases.
going to ask a question. You know how everyone's assuming Bruno is going to play deeper permanently next season?
I don't think it'll
Do
be
we
permanently.
actually know this, or is this just an
Permanently, but I think
assumption?
I'm assuming
He's not
because
gonna.
Is he not just going to do both?
He'll do both, but like if we get Mbama and Cunha and we have Ahmad in there as well,
And then you
he's
get this
mostly
guy.
gonna play deeper, I think.
that if you get this guy and Mbeumo, it kind of solidifies.
Because realistically,
And that's what the only place he can play.
realistically, he's not like you're not going to drop Mbeumo or Cunha that much for Fernandes to play higher up. So it will largely be deeper. But I think in this system, okay. So I've said this before sometimes because those wing backs start so deep. All right. Now when we've had a winger wing back, it's not bad because the wing back starts as so deep. Those two midfielders are on a bit of an island, all right? And because the wing-backs are so deep, the wingers, or the wide 10s, naturally go a bit wider, especially when you've got wingers playing in those positions. The strikers, the front three are far apart from each other, cut through in the press, all right? And then you've got these two midfielders who've got just an ocean of space to defend. And this is what everyone criticised Ten Hag for, but it was, I'd even argue it wasn't this bad under Ten Hag, that they've got this ocean of space to defend where they're in the middle and there's just so much space around the side of them. It's so easy to just go around them.
A lot of our issues are solved next season if our wing backs start higher.
I've been saying that for months.
Yeah, I know you have. And again, I know this is literally this is a one-game case study. So by no means does it mean it's a solid future. But when we beat Aston Villa 2-0, both Dorgu and Ahmad, bro, they were wingers. They weren't even wing backs, man.
Why do you think that they
And
were
I think
wing
that's
backs
what the
in that
blueprint
game?
should.
Is it because we just didn't care, or is that what made Amorim push these guys? Because I noticed that. I think a lot of people noticed it. Why in this game? Because we're like the only team that plays with a 5 at the back with wing backs that are not actually high up.
I think because of the two profiles. How many times did Ahmad and Dorgu play as wing backs together last season? They barely did. Because when Ahmad came back, he was playing in the 10 because Xerxes was injured, right? I think part of the reason we saw that at Villa is because it's basically the first time we'd seen it. Like in the final against Spurs, Ahmad wasn't at wing back. Ahmad was a number 10.
I thought we had so many more opportunities to do it, or even on the other
side.
We
may have had more opportunities, but what I'm saying is we may have had more opportunities. But I think the reason it happened that game is because those two actually played as the two wing backs. It barely happened beforehand, which is why we barely saw it. Like if you've got Dalot as your wing back, he's going to start deeper. It's what he knows. I think that's just the case. That's just what happened.
I thought Dalot like bought into the whole wing back thing much more as time went on.
Towards the
He was
end,
getting
he did.
better. Like Dorgu still has, developed. I don't think Dorgu's a wing back spinner. I think he's much more of a back four defender. But I just like it is concerned. Another thing I'm concerned about is the left, the threat from the left. Like Rashford's going, Garnacho's going, Sancho's going. That's three, like your three left wingers basically all going. We're not bringing anybody in who's really a winger on that side. Dorgu, again, like I just said, he's not a wing back. He's not got that threat about him in the final third yet. He's still very much developing in that regard. I actually said in a voice note to these guys recently, I said Dorgu almost needs to like, not that they're the same player, but it's that principle. He almost needs to do what Dan James did when he was like at his best, is that I'm just quicker than you, like just kick, run, and then put it in the box. Don't think about it. As soon as Dorgu starts thinking, that's when he
Dan
struggles.
James at wing back would be
Dan James,
devastating.
you know Dan James' most
that would be
effective-
devastating.
His most effective like times in the final third of United was when he realised, do you know what, I'm actually just faster than you. He'd just kick it past someone and go,
and he's off.
and then he'd just wick it in the box. As soon as he looked up,
Game
like,
over.
Game over. Like when his head was down, that's when he was at his best. Dorgu almost. Someone needs to just tell Dorgu, you're big, you're quick, you're strong.
We are signing
Get
Cunha
past.
on the left.
But he's not like a wide
He's
player
not like a
at
wing.
all.
He's more of a Bruno type for me. He's just gonna. He's
like
an
a second-
orchestrator.
He's a second striker.
You
Yeah,
know
no,
what?
okay, no,
Leon,
sorry, I
what's your
get
thoughts
your
on
point
Leon?
now.
Like, have you
Leon.
seen him? Yeah, have you
No,
seen
he'll
him?
just, he'll. I think
You think he's
he'll
gonna get
have
time?
he'll get in the team quicker, I think, than either. I think he'll have a heaven type moment at some point in the season. So the plan is for him, as per who said it, Rich Fay, I believe, who tends to be very good with the academy stuff. He said, plan is Leon comes in, goes on pre-season, and in pre-season it's assessed. Okay, is it better you stay in Manchester, or is it better that you maybe head out on loan, maybe go to Spain or France or something? I think he'll end up staying, and then it'll be, okay, step one, you've decided you're staying. We've decided you're going to stay in Manchester. Step two, are you going to be with the under-21s, or are we going to put you with the first team? And I think what will happen is first few months he'll go with the under-21s, because he's not just coming. He's coming from South America and he's coming from Paraguay. So it's not, so like
Cultural adaptation.
Yeah, it's like it's a mad. It's like so Sekou Kone. We didn't see it. He didn't make his debut last season. It was expected that he was going to at some point in the season, but he didn't, because going from Mali to Manchester is a crazy change.
He also
And I
got
think,
injured, didn't he?
Yeah, he got injured early on, and I think he stayed with the under-21s and he just kept playing with the under-21s, and he grew with the under-21s quite a lot. And this season, it seems that he's going to go on loan to like the Swiss League or something, and that's good. So I think Leon will have, with the under-21s, with the under-21s, and depending on how good Amram thinks he is, he might be on the bench a few times here and there, and I think we'll start maybe seeing him maybe around November or something.
I want to know if Sekou, I actually prefer he stays, because do you know, like,
He's
okay,
good.
you can't like take too much from those post-season tour because the opposition's not great, pitches are rubbish, like just at the end of the season. But like from everything we've seen of Sekou Kone, he looks promising. I'd actually like to keep him and like have him be a part of the squad. Like I think
so.
he can.
I
very
think he
easily
needs
be
to
a
play as
backup
many
midfielder.
minutes of football as possible. Sekou Kone specifically, because he's come from, I think because he's come from Mali, I think he just needs. It's not like he's been playing under 15s, under 16s, under 17s football in France the last 5 years, or in Germany, or like in the Championship. He's playing a completely different type of football on a different continent before, and this season, he was playing under 21s football. I want him to get as many senior minutes as possible, so I think longer term it'll be better for him to head out on loan.
I
really do, just for his development. Huh?
Where's he going to go?
Well, the rumours are that he was going to go to that other Ineos club. The guy that you know the new striker we just signed, Enik something. He's gone to Lorenz. How do you say it?
Lausanne.
That's it. And I think Sekou Kone is going there as well. I think that's fine. Like, because I would rather we don't depend on him at all, and almost let him grow in a lab. This is how I think about it. It's like you put money away for a year in an ISA, and you see what it's like next summer. That's how I think we should treat this. Like, don't depend on it, don't spend it, don't use it, anything. Huh?
Just have to hope Donald Trump doesn't start hitting more tariffs.
Yeah, no,
the market
ruined
but that was suffering.
That ruined me for like a solid 2 months. Yeah. But I would, because Leon, I'd be more open to staying and stuff, because I don't know much about him. He looks a bit like he's a strong guy, you know.
Yeah,
like just seeing the training videos and watching, because Leon has 33 professional appearances. It's in Paraguay, it's in South America, so different gravy up here. But he would be much more ready to jump into the first team later on this season.
South America, that they play
yeah.
very
The
intense
physicality.
football as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Like,
I think physicality.
I hope that at no point next season, Leon's a first team starter. I don't want that to happen.
Unless he just.
I would, because if Dorgu's having a bad time, I would rather we have Harry Amas there. Have Leon there as a third choice. He can come on in some games in the Carabao Cup. He might start 1 or 2 games, but I would like to see him held back in the same way we held back Chido Obi last term, right? Chido Obi, there were games he probably could have started, should have started. We held him back, and Chido Obi will now start more games next season.
I think Chido Obi should go on loan. I'll be honest. I think anything but a loan is a terrible decision for his development.
You reckon?
I think he is too good to play youth football. He's like,
I see that.
Far too good to play youth football, but he's not. You're not going to get. What does he bet? What did he gain from being on the bench every week? He's not going to actually get that many minutes. The only reason he got minutes last season was because Xerxes got injured.
Yeah.
But
Hoyland was bad.
And yeah, he was really out of form. If Hoyland gets over that a bit, Xerxes isn't injured, and we get another striker in, and then you got other options you can play up front as well. Send him to
As a League One, I was thinking League One. I think a League One loan for Chido Obi, because he'll be taller than them all, just as strong with them all, and probably technically better or the same
teach him to use his body as well. That's the key thing. Teach him his body. So teach Chido, get him on loan to League One for 6 months. Have him back, reassess. Okay, is he ready for a step up to the Championship? Yeah, or do I want to keep him in League One? If he's ready for a step up to Championship, loan him to the Championship. If not, another. I
actually quite like that. If we sign a striker, especially as well, he'd be 4th choice.
Yeah, I don't see any benefit.
Yeah, no, I hear that. So we got one super chat from VK. So just saying, if we know the answers, what these squad members has in common, then we should be positive for the new season. Dalit, Maz, Yoro, Dorgu, Ugarte, Heaven, Obi. I know what you're getting at here is that they were all signed under the new regime, and it's the same point that I've been making. Sorry, I know we're going wayward from what we were talking about before.
I'm not happy.
Huh?
I heard the U word. I'm not happy.
Ugarte. The signings in the squad, the players in the squad who were, I can say least bad, but I would really say the players who were good last season were pretty much all the ones by Ugarte were the ones that were signed by the current people on at the top. This season, I get it.
You know? I won't write him off. I feel like with Ugarte, I think he was playing okay. He got injured and came back, and once he came back, he wasn't as good. But if you deep it, if you look at the categories of midfielders, you look at Ugarte fits in that category of the tenacious ball-winning midfielder.
But he doesn't actually win the ball loads.
You know what that thing about Manchester United making players not look that good. I feel like we're really underestimating.
But he had the same issue at PSG.
Yeah, but not to this degree of Manchester United. I feel like I feel like Manchester United are the best at not rating our own players. And then they move away, and then we're all scratching our heads.
Do you know what? I think Ugarte's best moments for me have come in the final third. I think he'd be good. Do you remember what Conor Gallagher did?
What are you going to say? He's going to be good as what?
Do you know what Conor Gallagher did on loan at Crystal Palace that season where he scored quite a few goals, or even at West Brom, people thought he's quite good box to box for one of these lower level teams. I feel like if Ugarte went to one of these teams, he'd be a good player. Where he can be a bit more box to box, use that energy, crash the box a little bit. You don't expect much of him with the ball, and you also know that a lot of the time they are going to be sitting in a low block, less space to defend. And his best games for us defensively came where we were just sitting really, really deep. But at Man United, I don't think he's a good player.
If you look at Ugarte's abilities, right, it's not far off. He's probably the creme de la creme of a ball-winning, tenacious midfielder in terms of...
He disagrees with you so much, by the way.
Apart from... Okay, if you look at his passing abilities, what do you call it? What other abilities,
There's not any.
Positioning? I don't know. If you look at his abilities versus other tenacious midfielders, we're not looking at Ugarte saying you are completely down the drain. If you're looking at Ugarte versus a different profile of a number 6, then you're looking at it oh yeah, you're just well off the mark. You're never going to be able to pass as good as Carrick. You're not. You're not going to be positionally as acute as Carrick. But if you're comparing him with a Kamara, look, he can pass the ball just as good as Kamara can pass the ball. I think he can.
I'm reserving. I think last season Ugarte, some things went against him that were out of his control, but I also think at points he was pretty poor. I'm reserving my judgment on him and waiting to see if there's an improvement, because you can base off last season, but to a certain extent, I think last season so much went against the players as well as the players being badly, that I'm for the vast majority of them, not all of them, but like vast majority of them, I'm willing to see what's happened pre-season and the beginning of the next season before making a final judgment. Like you know, that has like that whole 2 year thing. I want to say one thing. Kalu says, Maz, so referring to you, Ugarte deserves another season to really determine his level. Towards the end, he was also delivering goals and assists.
We can see his level though. His level is that he's not good enough. Like, okay, let's break this down. Okay, his touch is not good. His passing details are not good. He never moves. He's scared of moving the ball forwards, right? He often holds onto it for way too long. His jump timing, his positioning, his understanding is all poor. He wins probably about half, if that, of his duels, right? So not actually winning them at a great rate. For like, the times he does win the ball, because he does try to win it a lot, he gets skipped past at least just as much. Okay, so like yes, he wins the ball quite a bit, but what's the efficiency of that? It's poor. His positioning. Do you know poor. What? He's bad in the air. On set pieces, quite a few goals we conceded have been because he's actually quite bad, like defending set pieces. Casemiro deals with every set piece in the box, and the second phase set piece when it comes back in and everything. Casemiro deals with that because Casemiro's got that positional understanding. He's good in there. Ugarte loses so much of that.
I feel like both Casemiro and I feel like Ugarte has been victim of the system. Being victim of the system.
Casemiro, you can see, has like still delivered on some level
because he's a world-class DM that's gone through it. He's got the T-shirt. He's experienced. He's got the know-how. When we're talking about him and Ugarte, it's a mismatch in that sense when you're comparing it. But if you're comparing your Ugarte's with,
say we need an upgrade on Casemiro.
We do need to upgrade on Casemiro because he's coming to he's on a decline, right? But if you look at Ugarte,
you upgrade next summer.
Look, Ugarte, you put him in an Aston Villa, you don't notice these things. You don't all these things that you're talking about now, you don't notice it. Manchester, like
change Aston Villa to, I don't know, like
you see the
Brentford,
Kamara, you put him in here, you'll notice that he's losing the ball so much. You notice that he can't pass the ball as well. You notice that his positional awareness is not great. You notice that he's not good in the air.
Kamara's a lot better than with the ball though.
Bro, you put him in Man United, I'm telling you, you're gonna notice these things. You're gonna watch these guys day in and day out, week in, week out, minute after minute, second after second. You're gonna go, wait.
So are you effectively saying give Ugarte a chance?
I'm saying give Ugarte a chance. And the thing is it's a challenge for people like Ugarte, just like it is with any midfielder. Mainu's struggling. Look, Mainu, in another setup right now, in another team, whether it be Liverpool, whoever, is world class.
But Mainu at least gives us something with the ball.
He gives us something with the ball, but the level of Mainu, I promise you, the level of Mainu, right now, we should be talking about Mainu
as one of the best in the league.
Do you know what I mean? We're not even, he's not even getting started right, and you're putting him in a midfield, where he's gonna have to do a lot of the heavy lifting, He shouldn't be doing a lot of the heavy lifting at Manchester. He should be in a team where we're working off his strengths.
That's where I say the system's not good enough, but then regardless of system, I just don't think Ugarte's got the quality. Like, there's a reason PSG binned him after a year, and Enrique had him.
They're there. We're trying to take like off the shelf of like, what M&S? You got the yellow stick on that? Yeah, it's still M&S. We'll take you. We're not even there. They can bin him off because you've seen that midfield that just destroyed. That just destroyed Real Madrid. Yeah. You saw it.
Can I just say, we could have signed Vitinha for 30 million in 2022 when we were pursuing De Jong.
Yeah, it is what it is. Right, I'm going to move on for this conversation because this is going to go on forever unless I stop it. Last thing, quick predictions thing. I was going to fire a few predictions at you guys, early predictions, what's going to happen next season. So first one, who's going to be, at United, the surprise of the season? Which player? Who do you reckon's going to everyone's...
go first.
I think I know who you're going to say. So I'm going to let Ferns. You go first. Who's everyone going to... You know how like last season, Mazwari, I would say, was the surprise of the season. Who do you think is going to be like that this season? this coming season?
Aiden Heaven.
Aiden Heaven.
See, I don't know if he's as much of a surprise, because I think we kind of know he's good now. I would have actually put him as last season's surprise.
Would you?
Nah.
Yeah.
I think he was surprising, but I think I'd say Mazwari was the biggest surprise of last season.
He was.
In terms of expectation versus what happened.
Yeah.
I don't really thought about that. I would go with someone like, I think Dorgu. I think Dorgu's going to be a surprise next season. Like, I think he's being underestimated at the moment. So therefore, I think he will surprise people. Like, because I'm not saying he's going to be the best player. I just think people might be surprised about him next season. And I'm also going to go with De Ligt as well. I think people are going to be surprised by De Ligt.
Yeah.
And what about you?
I think it's going to be Højlund.
I'm
not joking.
Knew you were going to say that.
I genuinely think that he will like turn his form around at some point next season.
You think his stocks are so low now?
His stocks are that low. I genuinely think that come like January, February time, he'll, people start saying, do you know what, actually, he's better than we thought he was. Because like, the first few months of the season, he won't play as much and people will just like hate the sight of him. Where does he kind of gets more minutes? I think he'll start hitting form a bit more and more, slowly climbing. And I think around January, February time, people will actually start changing their minds and think.
No, I think
if
he stays, he'll get better.
I think people will start thinking, do you know what, actually, there's a player here.
You really like got me on the whole Rasmus thing, because the way you talk about Ugarte, it baffles my mind. The detail you go into, like the attributes, the individual attributes of Ugarte, right, and then what we witnessed last season.
But I don't deny that Højlund was horrible last season.
You can also apply the same thing you said about Mainu to Højlund as well. You can say that he was victim of, to some extent, because what you said is that to some extent all the players, a lot of them were victim of.
But
the
mainly,
system.
I saw a bit. Even with that victim, I saw
was
ability.
awful last season. But I've like watched that guy in so much depth. I see a lot of quality, and there's a lot of last season was his fault, but there's also some things that weren't his fault. I do genuinely think that he'll turn it around this upcoming season. No,
I think if that's the opinion, fair enough. Some of them have said, some of the comments saying Mason Mount as well, another one.
Ooh,
I think that's a good one. I think Mason Mount's going to be a squad player next season.
Yeah.
He's there is no more clear in number 1 and then number 2 when it comes to that left 10 spot of Cunha and then Mount. Mount's not benching Cunha at any point, but I don't know. I can see if Mount keeps fit.
Do you know what?
I don't see Mount benching Cunha next season.
Amarim loves
Mount, but I've got so much faith that Cunha's going to be just so good. Right, next one, I was going to say just player of the season.
Ahmad.
No, I think it's going to be Ahmad.
Bruno.
Like, who's going to be? You're just going to say Bruno?
It's just going to be. The reason why it's going to be Bruno is because he's got more options around him. He's got more options around him. He's just going to create more. He's going to play better because he's around better players. It's going to lift him up. It's going to be Bruno.
I think Ahmad, but Bruno. I was thinking Bruno first, but then I think Ahmad.
Yeah.
Dylan.
I should probably think of my answers before I ask these questions. I'm going to say discounting Bruno, just for the sake of the fact that I don't say Bruno again. I think he's going to be a new signing.
Just say Onana, please.
No, stop Onana, man.
Please.
Good Lord. I think, okay, if it gets over the line, I think it's going to be in Burmo.
Interesting.
I'm so dead sold on this guy.
He's a very good player.
He's going to come in and he's going to be, I think he's the second best player in our team after Bruno. I think flat out. That, or, depending on how storming he is, I think Lenny Yoro's in with a shout.
Interesting.
I really think Lenny Yoro's in a shout with player of the season. Because the way that he last season, his improvement was nuts. And it was like sudden. It was like one day he woke up and he was 10 times better. Because we all knew how good he was, right? And he got rinsed by Sulemana, and then he didn't get dribble pass for 12 games. It was like that. He got dribble pass like 4 times in one game, and then stood there for 3 months like a wall, going, "No." I really think Lenny Yoro could be up there in a shout.
He's a fantastic player.
That is one of the buys of the century, man. Actually, let me find what the other questions were. I've kind of messed up here.
That video of Lisandro Martinez benching 120 kilograms was, I think it was 120, was ridiculous.
I didn't know he was there.
Footballers are strong, man.
He's strong, but he's just benching it, so calm.
That's it, man.
Oh, you know what? I didn't even think about Lisandro Martinez.
He could be one of the surprises potentially.
You think? Like, do you think he's still got a solid chance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like continuing this team, considering that like he did look a little.
He won't play I think the fact that Yoro and Mazraoui can both play on both sides helps. Like and the fact Aiden Heaven's there as well. But yeah, I think Lissandro Martinez will contribute. He's got so much quality with the ball, and we declined so much when he got injured. He's like, because he was actually providing a lot of final third threat at that point as well. Like he was stepping into final third, crossing. He scored a couple of brilliant goals.
I'm going to go with one final one. Who do you think is going to be the most underrated player next season?
Underrated. Ooh.
So someone who you think will get less recognition than they deserve. It's a bit of a complex question.
I'm going to say De Ligt. I think you've gone from a surprise. I think De Ligt is so unbelievably underrated.
At the moment he is, for sure. I think people are just like saying Maguire's going to start next season. I think De Ligt's starting next season.
De Ligt has like every turn Amorim's kind of shown De Ligt is like one of his first choice centre backs.
I think the most underrated person, might be a bit of a weird one, is because so much spotlight will go elsewhere, is I think it's going to be Ahmad. I think Ahmad will just be, because I think he'll start right, if he's right wing back next season, so much of the focus I think will end up turning to whoever's in our front three and the midfielder and Bruno and stuff. I think Ahmad might go under the radar a little bit.
I hear it, but I think Ahmad's got such, like within the fan base, has got such a big fan base that like...
But I think it's going to become a norm. It'll be a norm that he'll put in such good performances.
Everyone's dying for Ahmad to go wing back because they know how good he is. And I think he's just going to be too influential in a game where he's not going to go. You know, people that create and score goals, they're always in the limelight. And I think Ahmad's going to be one of those contributors. He's definitely going to contribute maybe double figures, maybe 10, 11.
What, goals or involvements?
Involvements, goals and assists.
I think, well, if we have a good season, I can see him getting 10 and 10 for even from wing
10
back.
and 10?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, from wing back I can see it. But that depends. That depends on us playing good football next season. We can really easily fucking collapse, and then it's all calamity, and then Amorim gets sacked by Christmas, and we're sat here on our asses again doing nothing. But no, I think
it's a toss up between who it was last season for us, De Ligt and Maz.
Yeah, I was thinking Mazraoui as well. I think Mazraoui, he's actually a case of somebody where he's so good it just feels normal.
Yeah, that's it.
But I think Mazraoui is going to play less football next season.
And his adaptability. But that's the thing as well, because he's going to be able to come off the bench and still maintain that same level and dig us out of a hole potentially where we need someone like that can play on the left, play on the right because this guy's injured, that guy's injured. Yeah. It just further, like your O'Shea's, back in the days when you had those utility guys. Yeah. Mazraoui is a reincarnation of that perfect utility player.
Yeah, Mazraoui is one of the best signings we've made in the last decade. Just like value for money wise, 12.9 million, unreal. Thank you very much, Bayern Munich.
It's a joke, absolute joke. So yeah, Maz.
Yeah, did you say yours?
Yeah.
De Ligt. Yeah, fair enough. Right, I think we're gonna wrap up there. I think I'm about to evaporate. I've taken my jumper off and everything, man. It is boiling in here. But regardless, thank you so much, Firms and Yusuf, for coming on. Yeah. I was a bit late today, so sorry about that.
It wasn't me this time.
Yeah, it wasn't you this time. Hopefully next week we'll have. Oh yeah, I won't be here next week.
Ooh,
so
we're taking over
the presenting duties will be handed over to my boy Yusuf here. So next week Yusuf will be here. Hopefully, I'm hoping we'll have Marcel back on as well. He'll make his big grand return and say all the ridiculous things that he says all the time. And stuff. But
I'm banning him from talking if he says one bad take.
But it's Marcel, man. You gotta let him talk. He's lovely. But apart from that, thank you guys so much for watching our hour-long ramble show. Hopefully next week we'll have some better news. Hopefully there'll be some signings or some sales or something to talk about that's interesting. But remember, at 12:30 every Thursday, we are here in the studio, live on United View. Remember to smash the like button, subscribe, follow United District. All the stuff is in the comments. Apart from that, we'll see you next week.
Cheers.